Welcome to What If, the show where I, Jake from State Farm, answer your insurance what ifs. Today's caller is Gio. What's up?
Hey, Jake, what if I'm shopping for a new policy, but there are so many options that I freeze up and just can't choose?
It's okay. An agent can help you choose the right coverage. At State Farm, we're there for your what ifs.
Oh, now what if I need help deciding on dinner?
Tacos.
Good idea.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Have you or a loved one been injured in an accident? Are you struggling to recover fair compensation? Look no further. At Phillips Law Firm, the experienced personal injury attorneys will fight for your rights and get you the justice and compensation you deserve. They handle a wide range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, medical malpractice, and workplace injuries. Justice is a phone call away, so don't wait. Call today for a free case review. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Now, the greatest story never told with Miles and Thrill.
Oh, we're the greatest story never told podcast. Available on radio.com. Sponsored by Astroglide. Or whoever it was. We didn't get any emails this week on potential sponsorships.
It's always Astroglide to me.
Either way. If you'd like to be a potential sponsor, just shoot us an email to mensroom at mensroomlive.com. Make sure you put or KISW.com, whatever the hell it is. You'll find it. But let us know you made a donation to the 2 local Fisher Houses, or the 3 local Fisher Houses, and we'll hook you up as the unofficial sponsor. As we celebrate 50 years of KISW here at The Rock, this would have been our 15th year on the radio station, I believe.
We started,
15 years.
November of 2005. So, yeah, this is the beginning of our 16th year.
So we're starting to look back at some of the stuff.
As Mike just indicated to me.
That we've done in the past. And we play some of the stuff for you every once in a while. But we have a few old things that we dig through and look at and just... It's really hard to listen to yourself, first of all. I can't believe you people do it because, we drive ourselves nuts in here. It's like it's just what it is. You hear your own voice. You're like, oh, God.
Everybody does.
I sound awful. Why'd I cut in on that? Why'd I say that thing stupid? You just become really overly critical, right? Mm-hmm. So this is kind of hard to go back and listen to this old stuff because, number one, we were much younger.
And we sound like it.
Our voices are much different. Our style is much different. You got to remember we're coming on after Howard Stern at this point in time. This is a hot talk radio station.
Right.
Don and Mike in the afternoon. Tom Likas at night because on the East Coast, Tom was an afternoon show. On the West Coast, he was a night show there because they put him on live. Mm-hmm. So here you go, Timmy. It was that kind of radio. So our show was a bit different back then as far as the style and everything else, and we had a ton of guests on. I want to say our show was 5 hours, wasn't it, at one point in time before we got to cut it down a little bit?
No, we were 4.
We were 4? Okay.
Yeah.
We had it seemed like a forever, right?
It was different because we literally, through the course of doing our show, at least 3 times a week, when you look through the glass, our bosses, 2 of them, would stand out there with their arms folded, waiting to talk to us when we went to break because they were, dude, I'm not
about
kidding.
Anything.
Because they would get mad. We had to lock them out of the studio once. They were really pissed because we knew they would force us to shut the show down. And I remember this particular episode, but we had Ted lock the door to the studio. They just couldn't get in.
Yeah.
And basically for 4 hours, they're like screaming at us.
We just figured
we
get fired, we get out of there.
Yeah.
That was the idea. Anyway. So we had a ton of guests. We typically would have 2 to 3 guests per day on our show, and it was anything from people pushing their stuff. I think some of the things I read on here were J.J. Walker. We still have that one from Good Times.
He sucked.
He did suck.
He did. Not only did he suck, but here's the thing about J.J. Walker. The only thing you know him from, aside from dating and culture.
I was going to say, that is a bizarre one.
Cannot wrap my – well, I think she likes, But he was on Good Times, and his catchphrase was dynamite, right? That's what he said. Mm-hmm. It's like Fonzie saying, hey, all right? So his publicist person, whoever the hell it is you talk to, the difficult people before you talk to the guest, said, hey, the one thing you can't do with him or bring up or talk about is him saying dynamite. And in our minds, we're like, there's nothing else to talk to him about. Right. But he's there promoting a book, and the name of the book was something like Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. So we depending on what people were doing, we would take them. And believe me, when you found somebody who you thought, hey, this is going to be a great interview, it typically turned out that it wasn't the greatest interview in the world. And then when you did an interview with somebody who you're like, well, maybe on the fence about it, just maybe your interest isn't all the way in, but you're going to do your research and do the interview. Anyway, It was one of the funniest things ever. It just depends on who you get, what the day is, all those things. Right. You never know, Vince.
Oh, you're going to talk to someone from Motley Crue?
Sweet. That would be awesome. You know what I mean? And we weren't really, we get those every once in a while. But
Joe Perry from Aerosmith. He's a legend.
But we take whoever we could get. The black dude from Magnum PI, the helicopter pilot. What's his name?
He's TC on the show. I cannot remember his actual name. Right, we interviewed that guy, and he's
was
only
great.
known as the black guy
from Magnum PI.
But a great interview.
But he was awesome. And, he's like, hey, man, he was friendly as hell. Come out and see me sometime in California, wherever the hell it was.
Roger Mosley?
Roger Mosley, yes.
Yeah.
A.K.A.
Stacey,
the black guy.
What else did
Magnum
I have?
PI.
I had, we interviewed Bradshaw from the WWE.
But he was doing financial stuff at this time.
Yeah, he was. I think he still does some of that.
He rolled in. I mean, it's Bradshaw. But when he came into the studio, first of all, the man is a giant. But he's wearing like a three-piece suit. I mean, and he was starting down his financial path. But you knew him from WWE, which is one thing. But when we interviewed him, like during the break, this guy's dropping financial knowledge where we're like, oh my God.
He knows his stuff.
You would have no idea.
Who was the other wrestler we had? I just mentioned other than
we had Macho Man come in.
Macho Man, but
He
was
was
it Booker
awesome.
T? Was he on?
Not Booker. Yeah, I think it was Booker T.
I think it was Booker T we had on.
Who
but
is
Stacey
not
Keach,
much different in person.
Stacey Keach, who's a famous actor back in the day. But then we get these every once in a while, like, okay, for an example, we're going to play a little bit of this. But this is one of those where you go, okay, there was a television show growing up that we enjoyed called Land of the Lost. And it was this obviously fictional show about a family that goes on vacation.
They go on a rafting trip,
Yeah, they're
Miles.
doing a whitewater rafting adventure. All of a sudden, something happens. They go over this waterfall.
They fell 1,000 feet below, Miles.
And when they landed, they are in the dinosaur ages.
The land of the lost.
The land of the lost.
That is
Now,
where they are. This family of three must survive in a cave, even though there's dinosaurs and reptile people.
Yeah, and keep in mind that they had this little furry thing called Chaka.
Mm-hmm.
They had, either way, there was a movie made sometime later. I think Will Ferrell starred
2009,
in it.
I believe.
Hopefully you never watched that. That was horrible.
It was terrible.
But as a kid, this was a pretty cool show. There was these things called slee stacks.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't figure out how people couldn't get away with them because they really couldn't move.
They're very slow.
They were immobile. For the most part, but you had your typical family situation. You had your good-looking teenage kid, you had your good-looking teenage girl, like kind of like a Brady Bunch scenario. You had a crush on one of the people in the show.
I wanted to plow Holly something ragged.
Right. So Holly was the girl on the show, and we had an opportunity to interview her, and her real name was Kathleen Coleman, because they were coming out with the entire first season of Land of the Lost on DVD. Now,
By the way, quick side note.
Yeah.
That explains why in my garage in a box I found the full first season DVDs.
Okay.
It's
We got
like
it.
a month
Yeah.
ago because I'm like, why do I have these? But now that you bring it up, like, right, that's
So
why.
as soon as our producer Eric says, do you guys want to interview Kathleen Coleman? Who the hell's Kathleen Coleman?
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
She's Holly on Land of the Lost. We're
Hell
like,
yeah.
yeah, man. And Steve's like, I'm hot for her. I want to do her as a kid, all this stuff. She was the hot one on the show. We're like, hell yeah, we want to talk to Holly from Land of the Lost. So at this point in time, she was pimping the DVD out for the first season, and I want to say she was talking about writing a book, and we were trying to pry all kinds of stuff out of her.
Just keep in mind, the last time anyone had seen her, any interaction, she was still Holly, a 12-year-old
Land of the
girl.
Lost.
A Land of the Lost. So in your mind, and look, she's a grown-ass woman now, but in your mind, it's still sweet little Holly from Land of the Lost.
And one thing you should also know about us, before we went on the air back then, and this interview is probably 17, 18 years old, we would do helium before we went on the air. So let's go back in time and listen to a little piece of an interview with Kathleen Coleman talking about eventually Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain, I believe.
how life has changed
Yes.
for sweet, sweet little Holly.
Holly, yes, go ahead.
Now, wait a minute. What Hollywood people have you hooked up with? We just want to know one good one. Like, did Adam Rich ever hit on you drunk at a bar? Anybody like that?
It's very funny that you bring up Adam. He used to live with us.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What circumstance was that? How did that work out?
Did Dick Van Dyke kick him out of the house? What happened?
No, my sister was his legal guardian.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get a haircut for that
when
kid?
When he was doing 8 is enough.
Right.
But I still am in contact with Adam. He used to have a crush on me when we were little.
Hey, screw him. I got the crush. I'll take him out.
Get in line, would you please?
So, Holly, did you ever date a Hollywood type back in the day or anything?
Yeah, a couple of them.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, come on, spill the dirt.
Come on.
Spill the dirt.
I'm telling you, I have one hell of a story to tell you if you read my book.
Oh, you're not keeping the
About
tease on the
Wilt
book, are you?
Chamberlain. Oh, no. I got a great Wilt Chamberlain story.
You and Wilt
What?
Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Were you one of the 10,000?
Not even. My story's better.
What do you mean it's better?
It is. I'm telling you, it's
Oh,
better.
come on. Listen, you give us the beans on this, your book's
Come
going to
on,
fly
Holly,
off the shelf.
Kathy Coleman. Come on. Why did they call him the stilt?
I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but all I can tell you is if you can imagine me driving my Toyota station wagon and Wilt Chamberlain in my back seat.
Uh-oh.
Can you imagine that man? He was like, what was he, 7'2" or something?
Something like that. The question, though, is was anyone else in the back seat with him?
No, he was actually all by himself with his little friend.
With his little friend.
Yes. Get my drift?
Oh. Wow. What? How did that work out?
What were you, a taxi driver for a while? Driving a limo there, Kathy?
He actually lost a bet with me, and we were going out for breakfast together and with another girlfriend of mine, and he was in the back seat, and he started getting frisky.
Now, wait a minute. So the bet was whoever lost the bet had to go in the back of the car and take care of themselves?
No, the bet was because he said that more people knew who he was than knew who I was. So we started asking people, and whoever won or whoever lost had to take the other person out for breakfast. So he wound up losing, and he took me out to breakfast, and he didn't have a car because he came in a taxi or whatever. So we had to fold him into my back seat, and then he found a composite of me, a picture of me in a bikini.
Ooh!
Then he started doing funny business.
Oh, my. You must have looked fantastic in the bikini there, Holly.
Well, no wonder you've been divorced so many
I can't
times.
believe I told you that.
That's okay, man.
You got no idea the thoughts going through my mind right now.
Hey,
Oh my God, I'm going to be in so much trouble.
Hey, Kathy, how hard was it for you to divorce your second husband? If they were if you know they're his parents were basically your second family. I mean, that couldn't have been very easy, huh?
That was my first husband, actually.
Okay, your first husband, yeah.
Yes, and they actually that was when I was like 23 years old, and I just recently lost them, and they have always been like my parents. Even though I was divorced from their son, I was probably closer to them than he was.
Wow.
And you have two boys, right?
Correct.
And how old are they now? Are they in their teens?
21 and 23.
So
Christopher and Alfonso.
21 and 23. Dude, you are, I mean,
I started really young.
Yeah, you're able to.
Don't look at me like I've got a crutch and all that.
Well, man, I get the feeling I wish I'd known you a couple years ago, huh?
So, Kathy, you're a young, hip mom with two kids who are college age. You come home one day, they're home from school, whatever, and they got a big hookah in the middle of the living room, and a couple of their boys are there, and they're smoking that fine California bud.
And you say, move over.
That's what I was thinking, Kathy.
All right.
No, but I knew it. You're a hip mom, aren't you? Knocking down the margaritas.
God almighty.
Little Holly from Land of the Law. Yeah, Wilt Chamberlain's in the back seat masturbating to my bikini picture.
Jesus Christ. What the hell's wrong with us, man?
We just didn't care.
I know.
At all.
God damn. Listen to that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what are we going to have to bleep out of this? This is freaking terrible.
Times have changed.
Yes, they have. Yeah, that's
Yeah, we used to get in trouble a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think the most trouble we ever got in.
Sunset Thomas.
No, I think, to be honest with you, Sunset Thomas was the one that was, it was bad because.
Yeah, it's a little bad.
It was bad because things probably happened that maybe shouldn't have.
Theater of the mind.
Right. I mean, there's a reason I don't really eat bananas anymore. It kind of started from that experience. Because Steve ate the part that was sticking out.
Yeah.
I ate the part that was in there. Anyway.
She was impressed. All the boss said to us after that, the first words out of his mouth, we finished the interview, he called us in the office. We think we've done a bang-up job. We crashed the website to the station. So we walk in the boss's office, he closes the door, looks at us, goes, are you fucking stupid?
But one day, I can't remember what it was. It was like there was a new website. I think it was like things that white people like or whatever it was. It's always tongue in cheek, but we decided that day that our question of the day was going to be, why do you hate white people?
Oh, yeah.
And it was always just like people were calling up because yoga. It wasn't like there was.
And it was all white people that called.
There was nothing like casseroles. It was nothing. My mom makes casseroles. I hate it. You know what I mean? Like, and it was the show was going great. There was nothing wrong with it. It was obviously very tongue in cheek. And then our boss rolls in about 45 minutes into the question and goes, hey, guys, we just got a call from the NAACP.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And they are complaining about your show and about the fact that you are promoting hate. And we're like, we're not promoting hate. It's a joke. It's tongue in cheek.
Yeah, what do you
We're
hate about
saying
white
stuff
people?
like, people use the backboard and people pass the ball off.
Yeah,
assist leaders, stuff like that. This is just jokes. You know what I mean? Like kickers. You get it, right? But no, they didn't.
That's right. I forgot the NAACP.
We're like, why they give a crap?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
What did say what he hate about black people? Say what he hate about white people.
Right. It was just,
Tell them to call.
yeah, we had all kinds of stuff. Like Rick Astley probably back then. There was all kinds of stuff they hate about white people. Anyway, we'll dig up some more of these and play them back for you if we can find them and they're actually not too blue, so to speak. A lot of this stuff is pretty bad. Talking about now the cancel culture is just like, Jesus Christ.
I know.
If we put this stuff out, like, who did that? Where were they? Well, it's 20 years ago. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You're out of here. There you go on The Greatest Story Never Told.
You've been listening to The Greatest Story Never Told with Miles and Thrill on radio.com.
Oh, man! A Double Flush production.